Hey everyone, it's me. I wanted to talk about the question that has been posed to me probably a million and one times when it comes to parental alienation. And this is an age old question, but it's also one of the absolute most heartbreaking and annoying questions, and a question that should be left alone and not asked, not just once, but repeatedly. Because if you are a parent who has been alienated from their children, whose children have chosen to disconnect, you don't know where they live, you don't know their phone numbers, you are not a part of their lives, so you really can't answer questions. But you're probably baffled as to why they left. Maybe you did have a falling out, or maybe you hit a few bumps in the road. Maybe you're a human being. Maybe you over who know whatever the case is. There's one question people ask that should be left alone. The question I've been asked by people who were in relationships with myself and my daughters when they were around. They say, well, what did you do to them in order for them to disconnect from you and not talk with you? These are the people that have seen your relationship, seen it from the outside, have spent time with you all, that thought everything was on the up and up and everything was normal, and that you'd be a part of your children's lives and see your grandkids and this and that and walk your daughters down the aisle. And these are the people that are probably just as baffled as you. So everyone's it's kind of the where's Waldo? You just don't know. These are the questions that are so harmful, because I'm letting you know, most parents who love their kids, who have children that disconnect or alienate, if we had the answers, we would want to fix the problem. We would do mostly everything in our power to make things better, to apologize, to say, I'm really sorry, I hurt your feelings, I'm sorry I yelled at you. Whatever the case is, if we knew, we would take steps to tell our children, let's talk about it. Let's sit down, let's have lunch, let's discuss it. Let's figure out why I reacted the way I did and why you reacted the way let's figure it out. Let's whatever the case is. But when someone says, what did you do to your children? You must have done something to them. You must have abused them mentally, emotionally, not necessarily sexually, because that's not, whatever the case is. I'm not saying it's not possible. It doesn't, it happens, but I'm just saying normally they say you probably abused your children. I was told by my oldest daughter when she came back. She left for a number of years. She came back and she said, Mom, I'm really sorry for leaving, and it never happened again. And I said, well, why did you leave? She said, because you yelled at us. And I said, well, how often? Oh, once a week, once a month, but we were afraid of you. And I said, well, I'm sorry. I never meant to cause you fear. I'm sorry about that. I truly apologize. And I was trying to raise two girls of my own. I was trying to keep you on the straight and narrow, stop, avoid you, not completing high school, getting pregnant, doing drugs. I said, I just wanted you to have a healthy fear of authority, and make sure that you didn't end up having lifelong consequences. So I'm really sorry about that. And she said, well, you dated a lot. Well, I'm sorry I dated a lot. I did make choices because of my previous trauma, and I'm sorry about that. And I'm getting therapy for it. I'm getting help, and I'm learning about why I did what I did. And I apologize for that. I'm truly sorry. And so she said, I won't ever leave again. And then she left again. But I was consistently asked by my mother, why did your children walk out on you? You must have done something. And she mentioned one time it's because I made them do chores. I said, well, all children should be doing chores, because if they're fully capable of doing chores, they should. I'm not a slave. I'm not a maid. Let's pick up after yourself, clean up your room, do the laundry, do the dishes. I'm working how many hours a day I want to walk in, do a clean house. Is that it? I didn't consider myself a drill sergeant. I said, if we all work together, keep our house clean, then I won't have to do it, and we can spend more time together. And that's just the way it went. But that's the absolute worst thing, because we wonder, what did I do? What is there What did I do? Why won't you talk to me? I mean, give me something. Can you give me something so that we can fix this? Well, when you have people in your lives that don't understand because their children have never separated from them, they say, well, what did you do? I'm like, if you need to know, you need to ask my child, because I don't know. I wish I knew, because I love my child. And if there was anything I could do to take away the pain, to take away the hurt, to say I'm sorry, to give them a hug, to let them know it won't happen again, I'm just letting you know, we don't know the answer. So for you to bring it up, for people to bring it up, it is so unnecessarily cruel, because you're bringing forth a great deal of pain. Not only that, you're accusing me of doing something, number one, I didn't do. Basically, I heard you must have abused your children for them to disconnect from you. You must have done something to them. What is it? It's almost like they want you to confess to a crime that you didn't do. And they want it, it's like they're the judge and the jury. They're sitting, you're on trial, they're sitting in the jury box, and they're waiting for you to say something, to give them an evidence of truth, or for you to confess, well, yeah, I must have abused my child, and I must have done this and that. It's so irrational for you to continue to ask me what I did to my children to make them not talk with me. It's just let it go. When we get together, talk about anything else, but don't ask me what I did to my children, and please don't ask about them. If I want to talk about them, I'll talk about them. And if I'm in a relationship with them, I'll have things to share with you. But if I don't ask me. Don't bring up things I don't have answers to, because you may have more answers than me. I wish you would tell me. Why don't you go out and find out, come back and tell me, and then I'll have answers, and I can, my mind will be more at peace and more at ease. So that's all I have to say is, don't ask somebody who was a good mother, that supported her children primarily by herself. Don't ask her, what did you do? The thing is I did my best. And the thing is I'm not perfect. I'm sure I effed up a lot. But please don't put me on a stand. And please stop talking about it. If that's all you want to talk about, and you continue to put me on trial, we're going to have to separate and not have a relationship, because there's 1,000,001 other things we can talk about. It's not going to be my children. I don't have answers for you. But most important, don't put me on trial. And don't ask me that. If you want to know why they're disconnected, ask them. And then whatever information you get, if you get information, bring it back to me, because it may be true, it may be not. They may have a legitimate reason, they may not. But just know, if you saw me and my children together, and you saw that we had what appeared to be a normal relationship, I'm sure anyone who loved my children, had I abused my children or they had seen signs of abuse, the first thing loving people do is they go call CPS and they file a report and they say, I see signs of neglect, abuse, whether it's emotional, mental, or physical. I see signs of abuse. I'm concerned about these children. I just do a welfare check. But if you didn't ask to do a welfare check when my children were in my home, and you saw evidence that I was a good parent, good enough that nobody else stepped in and raised them, just know that maybe it's not the person you're looking at. Maybe it's not the mom or the dad. Maybe it is the child who has made the decision to disconnect for a reason which may never be known. Because a loving parent, if they know, they could ease the hurt of their child, and they could have them back, and they could give them a hug and tell them they love them and they're sorry that life wasn't perfect. Any loving parent would almost die to be given that chance. So please stop bringing it up. I didn't do anything to my children. Because if you had seen abuse, you would have reported it. So anyways, please don't ask those questions. Let's talk about anything but my children. And that's all there is to it. So I hope everyone is having a great day, and we'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.